It's media day for the Los Angeles Sparks, and it is a fascinating time in Los Angeles. We're going to talk to a whole bunch of the roster, get you filled in on everything that's going on in Sparksland. Locked On Women's Basketball starts now.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm Howard Megdal, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen every single day. Over 340,000 of you listened in April alone, showing up for us the way we show up for you 6 days a week. It's not just me, of course, it is the entire crew covering over at thenexthoops.com. For $9 a month or $72 a year, you can get all of our 100 plus pieces every single month, reported pieces on women's basketball, 6 podcasts a week, just all delivered to your inbox. It is the coverage we know women's basketball deserves, and it is here. And of course, the great Cameron Ruby is covering the LA Sparks for us this year, and it's a really interesting team. And we've talked about this not just with Lynn Roberts when she's been on the program, the head coach, but just the fact that there is a roster put together by Reagan Peebly, by Eli Horowitz, that really has the Sparks built in a way to maximize what Lynn does on the court. And so that's really the focus here of the first of what is a 2-part Los Angeles Sparks set of shows. We've talked to Kelsey Plum, Dearica Hamby, Rickea Jackson, Julie Alamond, and Sarah Ashley Barker. And I want to share these with you over these 2 shows. I want you to keep in mind the significant and overarching theme here. These are players who are not just winners and built to win. These are players who are built to play in a Lynn Roberts system. So we're going to share these with you now. We're going to start with Kelsey Plum, the biggest, she'll like it when I say this, the biggest dog in the pound. And we'll talk about what that means, what dog class is to her. Much more to come here. I'm Howard Megdal, and you're listening to Locked On Women's Basketball. Not going to insult your intelligence, listeners, by telling you who this is. Kelsey Plum, always good to see you. First of all, I just want to talk about what it felt like coming to LA and just getting this opportunity to come really lead a group.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like it happens, but it doesn't really sink in until you start, arriving at training camp, playing games, preseason. So I think this week has been almost an emotional week, I would say, just kind of having it really sink in to, oh my gosh, I'm really here, and I'm, big life transition. And sometimes it kind of takes me a second to really sink into what has happened, but I'm grateful, I'm excited, and it's gonna be fun.
Does the on-the-court stuff make that transition easier because, here's something familiar, here's something you know?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, this is a great group, very fun, very young, I call them the TikTok kids, uh, but it's been wonderful. Their energy, and I think just them being really excited that I'm here, and really just having a willingness to want to learn. And I mean, I can't tell you how many people have just come up to me and asked me questions, which I was not saying surprised about, but like a little surprised about, whether that's management or teammates, coaches. So I feel very valued in terms of like, hey, we want to know, what you've done in Vegas, or how did this work, or how did this work. And so they want to be great here, and it's going to show.
It's an adjustment, obviously, and it's strange to think of yourself as a veteran, I'm sure, because it's strange for me to think of you as veterans. I remember your UW days. So, but when you make that jump to a team that is younger, do you come in thinking, all right, this is a time I'm going to say something where maybe I wouldn't have in a similar situation last year?
Well, I mean, I've always been myself. I've always been myself, and that's something I'm very proud of. Whatever room I'm in, whether Team USA, or I'm on the Sparks, or I'm on Vegas. I mean, I've always just been who I am. I think, to be honest, I've come in and been very observant, just kind of watching and building relationships and trust. I think is very important. But I'm really here to empower. I think my
Mhm.
leadership style has always just been having my teammates back. I mean, you can ask players in Vegas. I've always been someone that's having people's back because I do think that matters. When you're in the trenches with people in war, you don't need criticism. You don't need people critiquing you. You need empowerment and confidence. Like, hey, you're doing great. Keep going. That's really what we all need in life. So that's kind of my style. That's what I've stuck to here.
It's interesting to me. A lot of people think of you as a shooter first. You have been a tremendous passer throughout your career. Assist percentage well over 22, and consistent in that way. Do you feel as if it's more of a combo opportunity here? How do you kind of measure that in your mind? And is it a little bit different, just given the personnel around you and also Lynn's system, which we'll get to in a second?
I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, it's been playing off the ball with Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think learned a lot. Chelsea's the best passer. She sees the lanes that no one else sees. Um, and so learning kind of my niche of like, okay, where do I fit into that, and how can I get the ball to people? I would say probably I'm more of like a paint and sprayer,
Hmm.
get into the paint, and that's something very important to me. I led the league last year in paint touches, and that was very
Right.
intentional. Um, and I will say, I take a lot of pride in my passing. I played the two for the last 5 years, and I mean, not very many two guards average like 4.5, 5 assists. So it's something I'm very intentional about. But you're right, being in Lynn's system, being more of a lead guard, and being asked to carry a bigger of a role in terms of creating. I would definitely, I expect the assist number to be very high.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't think you will be surprised, but I do think there'll be a lot of people that might be very surprised by that.
Well, and again, you're stealing my stats because you led the league in paint touches, which is where we're going next. Because this is when you look at Lynn's system, it just feels like it's one thing to say, look, this is a team, this is a roster, it makes sense for you at this time. That just seems perfectly designed for you. So much of the time, the shots in Lynn's systems are either in the paint or beyond the arc. And you are as good as they come doing that year after year because people can't keep you out of the paint. And obviously everybody knows about your ability to shoot. So just like, what have those initial conversations been like with Lynn? And, have you had sort of an early aha moment in practice or in preseason where it's like, oh, wow, this is what this is going to feel like?
No, I appreciate you saying that. I would say I need to be patient. I know that when you put in a new system, there's a little bit of some bumps, right? Because it's new to everyone. It's not just new to me. So it takes a little bit of time to be able to read and react, and that little bit of time is the difference between a wide open shot or a contested shot, or a wide open
Right.
pass and a contested pass, things like that. So we're gonna get there. I would say, just gotta be patient. But you're right. I will say, I saw Coach's vision of being intentional on the space and the pace, which is very appealing, right, to someone like
Yeah.
myself. And I've tried to differentiate myself. Originally coming into the league, I wasn't um, someone that could touch the paint at all times, and so been very intentional about getting my body in a place where I can physically handle that type of load game after game. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll see a lot of paint and spray, a lot of threes, a lot of layups.
A lot of people have been affected by your desire to extend the ladder down. Obviously, what you do with dog class is significant. And I just wonder how much you feel like, just from a culture perspective, this is the right fit for you, number one. And number two, how meaningful it has been to be able to extend that ladder to people who have come after you during what's really been a transitional era in women's basketball.
Dog class has been very important to me because I struggled immensely. And I struggled immensely in my transition. That's no secret. We all know that. And so just creating that bridge for these younger players to just really feel empowered and feel like, okay, I have access to someone or someone's resources because that's another thing that people maybe not realize about dog class. They leave with, Pilates, strength and conditioning, mental performance, all access to the people that I actually use on a day to day, because I want them to know, you're supported, right? And really, that's all we want in life is to feel supported and empowered. So that's very important to me. And you're right. Generationally in women's basketball, I remember very vividly moments that big time players went out of their way to talk to me, and it made an impact. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Candace Parker. I remember very vividly how that affected me in my career. And so I think one of the greatest things about the W is our community and how no one has that ego to like, oh, I can't approach her.
Right.
One of the greatest things we do in dog class is try to connect players with, oh, hey, you love Chelsea Gray? I know Chelsea Gray. I will connect you with her because that's the player that you want to emulate your game after. Great. Pick her brain. She's one of the best brains out there, right? Pick it. So those type of things is what we're trying to create because, in the NBA, they have all this time and access and money and resources to be able to help these guys transition, developmental programs and all these things. And W, we're getting there. We're not there yet. So I just want to be able to give them something I didn't have.
Last thing for me, just when you look at a single data point, if there is one that you're going to be concentrating on to either reach or get to for success this year, what do you think that'll be?
Ooh, good question. If I'm not top 5 in scoring and assists, then I would say, and also significantly impacting this team in terms of winning and not, just like empty numbers,
Right.
then I haven't done my job.
Would be surprised if any of that doesn't happen. Kelsey Plum,
Thanks, Howard.
always appreciate. Locked on Women's Basketball is brought to you by Wayfair. The days are getting longer, the weather's warming up, and people are spending more time outside, which means it's the perfect time to refresh your outdoor space. Whether you're working with a big backyard or a small balcony, Wayfair has everything you need to make it feel more like you. Wayfair's massive selection of outdoor essentials makes it easy to transform any space into your ideal summer setup. From comfy conversation sets to sleek dining tables and outdoor decor, they've got it all and at prices that fit your budget. And they do. Take it from me. I'm in the midst of figuring out there's an angle where I can sit in my backyard and see the television. I need to have this set up ready for WNBA season. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online this summer. Get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Howard Megdal, Locked on Women's Basketball, back here with Dearica Hamby, who had a season for the ages last year in a way that I'm not sure people fully appreciate. I'm going to get a little nerdy on you, but I just want to start with, as you look back at it, because I remember talking to you during your time coming off the bench as six-person extraordinaire. Like, how satisfying was it to be able to show in this way what you were capable of?
Yeah, I think it just was more so like proving to myself. I set a lot of goals out last year. Some that if people looked at, they probably would have been like, yeah, okay, sure. Like I wanted to average 18 and 10, shoot over 55%. I wanted an MVP vote, and little other things. So for me to accomplish close, if not all of my goals, it meant a lot to me.
It was interesting for me to see you get a lot of most improved player because from my perspective, I don't feel like we saw as much a growth in you as a player as much as a growth in you
It's an
as an
opportunity,
opportunity. But do you see it differently? Take me through how you view it.
That was also a goal of mine, most improved, but I know that kind of goes into it. My role in Vegas was one that I enjoyed, and but I think it just shows you that it didn't mean that I was incapable of being a player like that. So yeah, just if you go back and look at probably my points per possession or all those statistics that show you over 40 minutes, I probably would have these similar numbers. So to be able to get the opportunity to take that amount of shots and have the ball in your hands, I think shows that I can be efficient at.
think is really significant and worth pointing out is that your production just continued to stay strong throughout the season. You didn't have a surge. It wasn't anything other than just continuing to dominate. And that
Yeah,
was particularly noticeable to me in the fact that when you got 40 plus minutes, happened 3 times last year, your
yeah,
field goal percentage was 55.3%. I mean,
yeah,
you did not seem to get tired as
yeah.
that went on. Was there any sort of change that you had to make in the way in which you prepared for a season, knowing you were going to have a load like this?
No, I think I've always been a player that plays hard, no matter the amount of minutes that I play. So I think that was consistent. I mean, maybe as I get older, it might slow down a little bit, but not right now. So
This is a franchise that's made a lot of changes over the
yeah.
offseason, but they have made a commitment to be building around you here
Mhm.
coming into 2025. Can you just kind of take me through what those conversations were like and what you think it says about where you are in the league that you're able to be the centerpiece of, one of the original franchises here?
Yeah, I think just staying true to who I am and being consistent. I think being a good person first and foremost has gotten me a long way and staying consistent. And yeah, I know last year we just talked about needing another lead guard, and that was going to be our priority in the off season. And Kelsey kind of fell into our lap. So just grateful to have somebody that knows me, knows how to play hard, knows what it takes to win a championship by my side.
There's obviously continuity is a driving force behind success that this league has. Do you feel like having that pre-existing relationship on the court, off the court has sort of allowed you guys to get ahead of the game in what, as we know, is a sped up process, which is training camp in the W?
Yeah, I don't think ahead of it, so to say, but I think it's allowed us to battle adversity more fluid and not like hang on to it a little bit. We know each other. We know that there's genuine love there, and we want the best thing in the end, and we want to compete and get this group like in the top four. So I don't think it's a new system for all of us, not just me, not just her. So everybody new. The coaches are learning how to do things. They come from the college level, so. I think basketball is basketball, but I think it's helped in that regards.
When you think about where you get your shots, how much does this system, and we talked to Lynn Roberts about this at the time she was hired. She's been on the show, of course, dating back to her
Mhm.
Utah days. How much has that changed? How much has that opened up for you? Just it's
Yeah,
early days, but what are you seeing so
I
far?
think the idea of what she wanted to accomplish is the right idea. I think we have to tweak it though. We've played a few preseason games to see what's working, what's not working, spacing, and so we've made a few adjustments, and we'll see in 3 days.
You obviously are somebody who's very intentional about the goals you make for yourself. How
Yeah.
have you set those coming off of the year that you've had? And, what are sort of those next levels in your mind?
Yeah, I think the goals are very similar. The numbers are about the same, but just at a more efficient level. I think if I turn the ball over less, there's more possessions. I think as a team, if we turn the ball over less, there's more possessions. And I think the pace that we're going to play at is going to be different than last year. So probably a lot more in transition. Having a lead guard that can throw the ball up there and get the ball to me. So yeah, I mean, my goals are similar, but obviously I want to win. So if that means averaging 15 and 10 and we're winning games, I'm happy.
You know what a winning team looks like in this league because you've played for so many of them. This team has playoff aspirations. What
Yeah.
do they need to do in order to get there beyond you, just as a group?
Yeah, I think just the confidence, we have we have a lot of champions on the I think 3, Azare, me,
Yeah.
KP. We have high level all-star players on this team. So I think we have the key pieces. Rickea is bound to be an all-star, not this year, like next year and every year
Mhm.
after that. So I think we have the pieces to compete at a high level, and everybody's buying into the process and buying into the new system. So just got to put it all together. It's a process.
Amaya's been able to see your career up close
Yeah.
throughout her life. Is there a recognition as she gets to a certain age? I got kids who are a little older
Mhm.
than she is. Is she recognizing, understanding, seeing things in a deeper way now? And what's that been like for you?
Yes and no at times, but her most important thing is she just wants to be with me. So she's in school right now, and she's like, "Well, why can't the LA Sparks just like move to Vegas?" So that's all she's kind of focused on right now, just because it's so far away for her in a sense, in regards to like the season's not here yet. There's no game, so But yeah.
I just have to say, it is so great to see you thriving in LA, to see what you're doing here. Dearica, we've had the privilege of covering you for many years.
Yeah.
Wishing you all the best.
Thank
Dearica
you.
Hamby, LA Sparks,
Thank
back
you.
with much more from Sparks Media Day. Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by CarGurus. Shopping for a car should be exciting, not exhausting. But between the confusing prices and hidden fees, it can feel overwhelming. That's why I love using CarGurus. They help you cut through the noise and show you the best deals with full confidence. With over 4 million listings, CarGurus has more new and used cars than any other major online marketplace in the United States. They verify dealers, provide real price analysis, and give you the tools and data you need to make the right choice without second guessing yourself. I can tell you, cars are not an area I know very much about, but here's what I do know. Competition matters. And if instead of you going to a single dealership, you have all the dealers competing for you, that gives you an opportunity to take advantage of everything from going back and forth between options to even price drop alerts, so you know exactly when the perfect car is available on your budget. It's no wonder SimilarWeb estimated traffic data shows CarGurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site. Buy or sell your next car today with CarGurus at CarGurus.com. Go to CarGurus.com to make sure your big deal is a best deal. That's CarGurus.com. CarGurus.com. Howard Megdal, Locked On Women's Basketball, back here with Rickea Jackson. Just an absolute star in year one in ways that I think may have come as a surprise to those who didn't watch closely, but for those of us who know, seeing your level, not just of success, but efficiency on the court was really significant in terms of how impressive you were as a rookie. And I just, for you, I'm wondering, kind of take me through when you felt like the speed of the game made that possible for you. Because you're 50, 35, 80 in year one, which is unheard of.
Yeah, I feel like the first year, at first, of course, like I hit a rookie wall. I feel like during my training camp, it was very tough for me because I didn't know what position I was going to play. And then at the same time, you want to come in, you want to do good. You want to make your teammates happy, make your coaches happy. And I feel like, I just want to be the best at whatever I'm doing. So I feel like I wasn't doing that. And it was hard for me to, learn plays, but at a high pace at the same time. Very physical game in the league. And then it's like, again, don't know where I'm going to play. So it was just a whirlwind, but I feel like it made me tougher mentally. So again, I appreciate my rookie year and I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it was hard at first.
I mean, and especially, when Cameron Brink goes down, there's a positional shift all across the team, right? So it was, you were putting up a true shooting percentage north of 54%, and you were doing it at times playing the four, doing a little bit of everything. Did you feel like there was a moment in which you found your stride in your rookie season? Just sort of a moment where it kind of clicked for you?
Yeah, I'll have to say the second half, like after the Olympic break, that's when I feel like things started to click a little bit. That's when I started to, like find my footing, like, okay, like I can hang in this league. Like as long as you're going at people, they're going to come at you, but you got to go at them first. So I feel like I just started to, attack them. Like they lace their shoes up the same way that I do. So at the end of the day, like, I work just as hard as anyone. So I feel like just going out there and having that confidence in yourself is what helped me. Again, my coaches at the time, they were, shoot the ball, shoot the three ball more. And I feel like that actually helped me a lot too, because my coaches truly instilled that confidence in me. And again, you want to impress your coaches, you want to make your coaches happy. So I'm like, okay, now if I airball, don't be mad, but I'm gonna shoot it. So I feel like as it went on, I just, began to find my footing again and just keep shooting the ball. And I feel like that helps open up the floor for myself and my teammates.
I mean, 50% from three in the month of August, clearly found another level. And so I say all that by means of, you're now in a system with Lynn Roberts, which would seem to accentuate the things that you do best, on the offensive end, especially getting in the paint, being able to stretch the floor in that way. what have those sort of early conversations and practices been like with Lynn as you think about the ways in which you want to grow in year 2?
Yeah, again, just efficiency, taking the right shot, sometimes giving up a good shot for a great shot. And I feel like that's something that this offense is focused on, like taking great shots. You want the best shot possible. I know there was a lot of discourse early on through the season, saying Coach Lynn doesn't let, her players shoot jump shots and things like that. And I feel like that would make anyone's antennas go up when someone like me, who, kind of lives in the mid-range, is on that team. But she's handled it perfectly. I still get to shoot my jump shots. So, everybody can calm down with that. She still lets me, but she just want to make sure, again, it's the right shot. She want to make sure the right people are shooting them too. So I feel like that's been very good to experience. And I feel like, again, it's just going to continue to highlight my strengths in the game.
When you come into a season with a more defined role, when you come into a season with a better understanding of what is being run here as a result of that, how much do you think that allows you to grow? And do you set your goals differently because of it?
Yeah, honestly, it's like a breath of fresh air. Kind of knowing early on, like, okay, you're going to play this 3 position. If we needed you to play the 4, you would. But right now, your only focus is the 3. These are the plays we're going to run. It helps a ton because I really just truly get to focus on that position. And, when you're doing these plays, like, okay, where can I get to my spots off this play? So I feel like that is a huge weight lift off my shoulders. Again, that's what comes with being versatile at the same time. Like I'm grateful for my versatility. But starting out early with the new offense, at least, just having to focus on one thing, I feel like is going to help me in the long run. But as for goals and stuff, I just feel like if we continue to win and we play together, everything else will just take care of itself.
I would be remiss not to ask you about voice in sport, because you are relatively young in the lead, but already it is critical to you that you are extending the ladder down. Can you take me through why you decided to do that, why it's so important to you, and just how people can learn more about it?
Yeah, I feel like young girls that play sports, we go through a lot, and a lot of it isn't talked about. So me just being an extension on a personal level, I feel like it's very important because this is something that I wish I had, growing up playing sports and, just asking them like, how was the journey truly? Because there's only so much that you can see in an athlete's life. Like me personally, I don't display my life a ton on social media, but, people probably look at me like, well, she probably went through nothing. You don't know the half, so just to be able to, tell these young girls, like, whatever it is, if you can see it, you can be it, continue to reach for the stars, chase your goals. There is adversity. Things do come with wanting to be the best. Things do come with, wanting to reach these goals. But for me personally, it was worth it. It was all worth it. But, being able to just talk to them, ask me questions. I pick their brains, just being there for them. And I feel like I want to be a part of their life. When they go on later in life and talk about their journey, they can say, I'll take this advice from Rickea or, whatever that is. So just being able to help these girls, I feel like it's just a great thing. Truly, it is.
Really fortunate that they have someone like you in their lives to do it. Rickea Jackson, really excited to see what's ahead for you. Thank you as always for the time.
Thank you.
So really just some interesting notes across the board, I thought today. Learning from Kelsey Plum, always fascinating, always interesting. I love she grabbed a stat that I was about to throw her way to talk about the ways in which she is effective on the floor. Just somebody who really knows and understands the game. Again, seeing these players, the way they're coming together, no one's really talking about the Sparks. But I'd be very surprised if this weren't a playoff team in terms of Kelsey Plum's goals. And I know I mentioned that. I also think this is a team that's going to do some really interesting things in how they push the game forward. And we've talked about this with Lynn Roberts, with Carl Smesko, thinking about the game in a more analytical way. Again, it's very easy to sit there and say, well, Cheryl Reeve and Sandy Brondello had the most experience leading teams to the WNBA finals last year. And it's true. And they absolutely did. But they also had two of the most analytically minded offenses in the WNBA. And we're seeing it continue. Jonathan Kolb, GM of the Liberty, talked about it last week. So much more to come. We will keep talking about it. Stay tuned for part 2. And we're just going to have a lot to talk about across this league. I am so ready for the WNBA season to begin. Until next time, I'm Howard Megdal, wishing all of you a wonderful day.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.